You want this? This is what you want? All right! Babies!
Last Saturday night, myself and my wife went to see the first part of the new Kevin Costner epic, set in the Wild West. Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. So, what did I think? Horizon tells the story of the expansion west in the 1860s, seen through the eyes of different characters whose paths cross in the search for a new life and a new home. Now, before I begin my review, let me tell you a quick story. I promise it's relevant. In the winter of 1997, I was attending film school in New York, and over the Christmas, with the college closed for the holidays, and since I was away from friends, family, and my first serious girlfriend in Ireland. How serious? Viewers, I married her. I spent that Christmas going to a lot of movies. So that's how I found myself on the night of New Year's Day, 1998, having fought past the queues going to see Titanic again, to sit alone in a multiplex theatre somewhere around West 23rd Street, waiting for Kevin Costner's The Postman to begin. Now this was being pushed as Costner's return to form after the disaster that was Waterworld, with even talk of possible Oscar nominations. Could it be another Dances with Wolves? But as the trailer started, something in the theatre caught my eye. In the flickering light from the projector, I could see shadows moving, scurrying across the floor at the bottom of the screen. Those shadows were rats, plural. So what did I do? I had paid the exorbitant fee at the time of $5.50 for a ticket, and having grown up on a farm, it was nothing I hadn't seen before. So I put my feet up and chose to ignore them. 3 hours later, I left the cinema, having realised those rats had not been the worst thing I had seen in the theatre that night.
He knew where I'd be if he wanted to face me like a man. Instead, he's hiding like a rabbit. So much for your Postman!
But then, 6 years later in 2003, Costner came storming back with Open Range, a tale of romance, redemption, and bloody range war. A box office success, Open Range, in my opinion, is one of the finest westerns to come out of Hollywood in the past 40 years. In particular, with some of the most visceral and realistic gunfights ever put to screen.
You the one killed our friend?
That's right. I shot the boy too, and I enjoyed it.
So it was with some anticipation I went to see Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1 last Saturday night. A project that Costner has been working to bring to the screen for the last 2 decades. So, is it a sweeping masterpiece, such as Dances with Wolves, or does it show the grit, realism, and humour of Open Range? Unfortunately, it's neither. Instead, we ended up with another Postman. But somehow, this one is far, far worse. From the moment the picture fades in, you quickly realise this film is a meandering mess. Albeit one of the most beautiful of the year, with cinematographer J. Michael Monroe making every establishing shot, and in particular a nighttime pursuit on horseback, resemble a Frederick Remington painting. But outside of that, this film has nothing of value to truly say. Writer, director, producer and star, Costner, is trying, it seems, to create an epic in the style of How the West Was Won. But to be honest, the result feels more like Paint Your Wagon.
But suddenly my words reach someone else's ear.
Perhaps the problem is the fact that Costner has spent the last 2 decades working on this project and has been involved so closely in every aspect, writing, producing, directing, and starring, that he's lost focus on what he was actually trying to achieve, that he's too close to see the flaws, and making the same foolish assumption as so many vanity projects do, that length is the same as substance. The screenplay, written by Costner alongside John Baird and Mark Kasdan, is not so much a story, but merely a sequence of loosely connected events that occur on screen. There are moments that do stick with you. One in particular is a growing cemetery of makeshift crosses by a river to show the sacrifices made in pursuit of a dream. But for every moment that sticks, we get 3 or 4 that simply drag. Characters constantly feel the need to explain their actions aloud, such as the first time Costner's character Hayes meets Marigold, the prostitute with a heart of gold. Another screenwriter would perhaps have played on the flirtatious nature of the scene, or even the cold financial hardness of the exchange of sex for money. But instead here, it's merely exposition to propel the story along. Performances are fine, with Costner calling in a lot of favours when it comes to casting. The film very quickly becomes a guess the film they were in with Costner before game. Sienna Miller is, however, the stand-up performance among what is otherwise a series of cameos that become distracting. However, as an Irishman, I wish I could have been distracted from Michael Rooker's lovable Irish sergeant, which may be one of the most misjudged and cliched performances I have seen in many years. But I don't blame Rooker as an actor for his choices. I blame Costner for okaying it as a director. Now, he makes some daring decisions, such as showing the atrocities carried out by both sides, the horrifying reality of shooting a man. But yet, he makes constant mediocre decisions when it comes to framing shots, judging performances, and seems to have a complete lack of irony, meaning scenes meant to be moving turn instead into cliched maudlin moments that are more likely to be found in a Lifetime movie of the week than a Hollywood epic. All of this is accompanied by, and I'm being extremely generous saying this, a misjudged and ill-fitting score by John Debney, which is at points so intrusive that it takes you out of the film. As for the length of the movie and pacing, well, let's put it this way. At about 2 hours 20 minutes, I had to go to the bathroom. On screen, Luke Wilson, as a wagon train leader, was ordering the wagons into a circle. When I came back 4.5 minutes later, they just finished.
Order. Order. Order!
Horizon is not a movie. It's a TV miniseries that somehow looked its way into the cinema. The sensation is not helped by the fact the film actually doesn't end. Instead, it segues for the last 3 minutes into a preview of events for the next chapter. Now, if I come across as too harsh, it's because I know that Costner is far better than this. How do I know? Because he's done it before. This is not the worst film of the year, but considering its potential, Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 1 is certainly the most disappointing. I say avoid. Oh, and before I go, I know you want to know what happened after I saw The Postman. Did I get my money back? Well, having left the screen, I approached the manager who was shoveling out popcorn behind the concession stand and very discreetly and very quietly told him about the rats. Exasperated, he looked at me with a resigned look of disbelief and exclaimed aloud for all to hear, "Not again!"
Please, sir, I want some more.
More?
All right, stop it. Stop it right there. Go on, fill up the bowl.
And if you liked this episode of So What Did I Think and want to see more, please click like and subscribe. Remember, always subscribe. Thanks for watching.